Okay, there's this session 3 of a parallel Japanese-English run-through through Suikoden 1. Looking for differences between the two versions of the games, whether they're translation differences, graphical differences, what have you. General disclaimer is that I am not an expert in Japanese or Suikoden, but I am functional but not fluent in Japanese, and I'm... Oh, hi Matt, how are you? So we're in Laning Camp right now, and before we head out, let's just talk to the different people around here and see what they have to say. Crin's in this building. I forgot that last time I played through it. A little break from your movie. Okay, how long is it? Sounds like it could be a long movie. From the description. The Fury of Crin. 2 hours? Okay. Okay, that's fairly standard. You recommend it though? いいこと教えてやるぜ、ウキキキ。Got something to tell you, hee hee. And the way that Crin laughs, Crin kind of laughs like a monkey. I think that's the onomatopoeia that kikiki often used for like monkey sounds, so maybe he's like a little monkeyish. Okay, maybe I'll catch it sometimes. What was it called again? Blinded by the Light. What year did that come out? Bakemonoが時々粒とかを落としていくだろう。その中にな、結構値打ちものも混じってるさ、ウキキ。Blinded by the Light. Yes, Blinded by the Light. Yeah, can't remember now. 2019? Okay, that's fairly recent. You know how monsters leave behind those urns? Well, sometimes you find valuable things in them, hee hee. こいつを鑑定屋に持っていけばウキキ。If you take these to an appraiser, hee hee. Yeah, so Crin is just giving you basic knowledge of how appraisal works. Anything interesting to say? 時々欅亭に怪しげな一段が入っていったまま出てこない時があるけど、いつまに出てるかな。Occasionally you see a bunch of people going to the kayaki and never come out. When do you suppose they leave? And kayaki is a type of tree. Forget, there's like Zelkova tree or something? They didn't translate it. It's just a type of tree. I think Meg's house is here too, but she's not here, of course. She's in, maybe Kaku Village? I think this is Meg's house and Meg's parents. Okay. あら、あなたこの町の人じゃないのよね。うちの娘、メグって言うんだけど、どこかで会ったら、ちょっと家に帰ってきなさいって伝えてね。You're not from hereabouts, are you? You have a daughter named Meg. If you ever enter her, please tell her to come home once in a while. That's not gonna happen. まったくメグのやつ。鉄砲玉娘何が冒険が私を呼んでいるの。親に心配ばかりかけって。Darn that tomboy Meg, adventure calls indeed making her folks worry like this. And the word that they're translating here as tomboy is, maybe not quite tomboy, it's, teppo dama musume. So, the expression teppo dama, it's like a bullet fired from a gun, and the idea is like, it's used for like truancy. You know, kids who don't come home or people who stay away from their houses. It's like when you fire a bullet from a gun, the bullet just goes off somewhere and doesn't come back. But I wonder about the choice of tomboy there, because I think it might sound a little bit like I forget the word for tomboy, psychotembo or something. I know they call Naname tomboy. Anything else interesting in this village? Heio Shogun が北方へ向かったのは本当かな。戦が起こると商売がな。Is it true that General Teo went north? War is bad for business. And do I have money? I have money. I have more money on the English side, but let's see if I can some weapon levels here. Yeah. Tears, Wolf Fang Staff. Yes, Golga Bow maybe? And Tear again. Victor. Aya sword. Becomes a Shiko sword. Level 5. I think in Suikoden 2 they actually have kanji for part of the Taya sword. Cleo or Gremio? I don't think I'm gonna run out of... Air Sword. Air Moon Sword. Oh, some money. Gremio. Some weapon levels. I think I need to go talk to... Have I talked to Odessa yet? Yeah. Alright. Okay, we're about to go over to Mount Seifu. We have to rescue Sidonia and Vargas. Sidonia and Vargas, who are captured at Grady's mansion because we captured them. It was the wrong thing to do because they are not the bad guys. It was Grady and his company the whole time. Let's wait for the... Do I have any antidote? Don't. I'll just have to deal. here. Nanda, my wa. Yoga nai nara kaere. Who are you? You've no business here. それとも、山賊みたいに非防止にされたいか? Get out of here. We strung up there like those bandits there. And here's an interesting graphical note. Only got to see it for a moment there. But they were crosses in the original Japanese version, and they changed those just to posts in the English version. We'll talk about them more in a minute since we can actually see them. We can see them in a moment. 警戒が厳しいですね。これは忍び込むのは大変ですね。Security's pretty tight. It'll be tough sneaking in. この俺今貸すときな。こういうことには慣れてるからな。Leave it to me, I'm used to these things. And Victor's gonna be Victor. Taihenda. Grady sama no yashiki ga kaji da. Help. The Grady mansion is on fire. Fire. Nandatte? What? Victor-san, 何をしたんですか? Masaka. Victor, what have you done? You didn't. さあね。ここんところ空気が乾いてるからな。そのせいじゃないか。I didn't do anything. It must be the dry weather. なんてことを、おちゃん、こんな人のことを見習っちゃダメですよ。My goodness, young master, don't you dare take after someone like this. And I think this side is still locked, yeah. Okay, so now we can actually go into Grady's mansion a bit more. Oh, and Cleo... Forgot to show Cleo. But none of these battles are that hard. Or medicine. I think Victor... I don't have any medicine, do you? No. Give some medicine to Victor. These guys have like 50 HP. Brass armor. Yeah, brass armor. Supposed to be brass? It's Japanese, it's brass armor. Brass. So it could be bless or breath, but I'm not sure if that's supposed to be brass. It's debatable. It's just phonetic. What do you give this to? We'll keep it on tier. I think he has leather coat. No one needs that. Antique. Right, so this was a graphical change made to the North American release of Suikoden, where clearly Barcus and Sidonia are being crucified on the Japanese version of the game, but they changed those crosses to posts in the English release. So that's probably due to religious sensibilities in North America that they didn't want to offend, so they changed it to post. They're not being crucified in the sense, they're not being nailed up, they're just tied up. So, looking at it a little bit. Yeah, so obviously the the side posts are taken down, but additionally in the English version, I didn't realize this, that they added rope. So I guess to make sense of them being tied up. Curiously, there's no rope on the Japanese side. So you wonder how they're staying up. But otherwise, everything looks the same. Ah. Ooh. 何事だい? 目がかすんでよく. Ah, what's going on? I can't see. Ah. てめえらは、あの時の帝国の奴ら。何しに来やがった? 俺を割りに来たのか? You Imperials, why are you here? You come to laugh at me? そのことしに来たわけじゃないですよ。私たちだって事情を知ってたら、グレディなんかに力を貸しませんよ。Of course not. If we'd known what sort of fellow Grady was, we would never have helped him. 僕がってね、今じゃお前たちと同じ訪れ者さ。今、助けてやる。A few things happened and now we're wanted by the Imperials, just like you. We'll help you out. ありがてえ。相棒の方もお願いするぜ。Thanks, get my buddy too, will you? その必要はない。Not necessary. てめえシドニア、その真似ができるなら、なんでさっさと逃げねえんだ。Sidonia, why you? If you got tricks like that, why didn't you escape sooner? Or like, if you were able to do sort of that sort of thing. 俺一人だけじゃ逃げるわけにはいけないだろ。I can't very well escape alone. Why he couldn't just like escape and then free Vark just himself? I don't know. Sidonia, teme. I know, right? Yeah, it's like, hey Burns, how are you? Yeah, I guess it's not, and it kind of ruins the point of you having that mission. You know, we're just like waiting for the right time. I was like, oh, I could have escaped any time, but I don't quite get that. So yeah, Burns, I'm not quite sure if you were here a moment ago explaining one difference between these games is that they have crosses on the Japanese side. Oh, you finished FF7 tonight. Oh, 6, sorry. Good. Okay, yeah, yeah. So how does it feel to finally finish FF6 after all these years? It's been a while since I played 6. I remember the fight being against Kefka was long. Like, you have to fight all those different, you have to fight, like, up Kefka's body. Yeah. Did you have any trouble with Kefka? Or was it a one-shot deal? Pretty cool. Only lost 2 people, so beat him in one go. Oh, who went down? Leveled enough, I guess. Okay. Who'd you bring? Mog and Edgar. I don't think I ever brought Mog to the end. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is Mog good? I mean, he's strong, right? I mean, does he have like a high attack? But yeah, I don't think I ever used Mog. I guess you could bring weirder stuff. Haste 2. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, Haste. Yeah, some of those old, like, you know, Square games, Haste is really strong. Like, Haste is really good in Chrono Trigger 2. Yeah, Slow was like one of the... Like, after things like Confused and Berserk, Slow was pretty awful. Edgar, Sab, and Cyan. Okay. So what's up next? Are you gonna play Chrono Trigger? Boy, Hayato Drakoroze. Hey, let's get out of here. Chrono Trigger. Okay. When are you gonna start that? Friday. Okay. Yeah, I wanna check out your Chrono Trigger streams, especially since you know, first playthroughs are fun to watch too, and it is like, you know, arguably the best RPG ever. 様ら、皇帝陛下に逆らい、山賊を逃がした上に、You dare to turn against the Emperor, free the bandits, and even その上、私の家を火を許さんぞ。Even set my house on fire, you'll be sorry. おう、いるってのかい。彼にすぐ兼ねてるのはこっちも同じさ。So you wanna fight? You're not the only one with a grudge. テームの目ん玉くり抜いてるよか Well, I'll cut out your eyeballs. Would he really cut his eyeballs out? I don't know if Barkus is that kind of guy. What? Oh well. 俺は八つ咲きでいい。Rather tear him to pieces. だから、well, you see, please. 覚えておけよ。このことはクレイズ様に報告して必ず仕返してやるからな。Regret this, I'll tell Master Crazy about this. You'll get yours. カリオさん、私たち本当に帝国に戻れるんでしょうか Leo, do you think the Emperor will take us back? Or can we return to the Empire? さあね、I don't know. 坊ちゃん、Young Master. ははは、大丈夫だ。人間、どんなことがあっても、なんとか食って生きるもんだぜ。Don't worry, there's all kind of ways to make a living. Yeah, do you want to take life advice from Victor? Yeah. I'm really excited for Chrono Trigger. I played the opening of it and got into the second area, and that's it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah, second area. Well, I don't want to spoil anything about Chrono Trigger, but yeah. Moon or something. Second area. Moon? I'm not sure. Which, Oh, okay. You're okay. A future. Okay, that'd be a little farther than the second area, I think. Oh, so was it a while ago that you played it? Did he say that? Ouch, better watch out the flames. Okay. Hey, was it recently that you played it? 5 years ago? Oh, okay, yeah. So memory's a little hazy. Okay, I won't say anything then. これで海保軍とやらに彼ができたわけだな。Guess we owe our lives. Guess we owe the Liberation Army our lives. Yeah, Chrono Trigger shouldn't be as long as FF6 either. I think you can knock it out in maybe 20-30 hours on a first play, something like that. Yeah. オデッサ様に伝えてくれるか？助けがいるときはいつでも言ってくれ。バルカスとシドニア、首を揃えて駆けつけます。とな。Tell Lady Odessa that if she ever needs help, Barkus and Sidonia will be there in a flash. Yeah, this little thing is kind of interesting how they, not quite sure why they do, but they put the Japanese, these are quote marks. Sometimes you see these like funny brackets, look like Tetris pieces. This is an opening quote mark, this is a closing quote mark. So I don't quite know why they sometimes quote things in the Japanese and don't quote it in English. It's a minor thing, but little difference. Ja. Enga atara mata aou ze. Well, we're off. Perhaps we'll meet again. Yeah. We'll meet again. You're part of the 108 stars. ヒート仕事終わった後は気持ちいいな。さあ、レナンカンプに戻ろうぜ。Sure it's great to be done. Let's go back to Lenin Camp. ヒル、もうちょっとだけ解放軍に付き合えよ。いいだろ? Here, why don't you spend a bit more time with the Liberation Army? Come on. He's more like, that's alright, right? いいだろ? Like, that's fine, right? So he's more like asking than telling in the Japanese, but... 坊ちゃん、レナンカンプに戻ったら、これからどうするか考えましょう。そのままでは。Young master, when we return to Lenin Camp, let's decide what to do. At this rate... Okay. How much money do I have? I've got like 40,000 more on the Japanese side because I was better at gambling. Yeah, and I think last week you asked me a question, Burns, I didn't completely answer. You asked about name differences between the two games, and then I got sidetracked with like some plot started happening. But so as far as character names, they're by and large the same in both games, apart from like the pronunciation differences. Like, you know, Victor, is like Victor, so there's the different restrictions on pronunciation in Japanese and English. Aside, the names are the same. There are a few names that the pronunciation is a bit different. Like, there's the redheaded woman who goes to collect Gremio's debt. Camille. I and every other English-speaking streamer I've seen has called this woman Camille. Her Japanese name is Camille. Camille. So that's kind of curious. Why is it like a Y sound, not an L sound? Because I guess she's actually supposed to have a French name, because the French pronunciation of Camille is Camille. So maybe French speakers see her name and they say Camille, as opposed to Camille. So like that's more of a pronunciation thing, but I guess she was supposed to have like a French name, not an English name. There's another character like that, Vincent de Boule. So in the Japanese, Vincent, his name is Vincent Doburu. Vincent Doburu. So Vincent. And there's even a funny part where the English version, they write his name as Vansan, Vansan, instead of Vincent, and that's because he also was supposed to have a French name. So the Japanese Vincent Doburu is supposed to emulate like a French, like Vincent de Boule, which I'm probably saying poorly. But like if you look at Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII, his name it's Vincento. So that's supposed to sound like the English Vincent, whereas Vincent, that's supposed to sound like the French Vincent. But like every English-speaking streamer I've watched and anyone that I've talked to, I've always called him Vincent, because that's how we say it in English. So those are a couple like notable name differences, which you wouldn't notice from playing the English version, apart from like the curious translation lack of continuity, where they do refer to Vincent as Vansan in the English. But I'll probably just continue to call them Camille and Vincent, because otherwise it's very confusing. And I think maybe switching to saying like Camille and Camille and Vansan in English might be a bit confusing without that explanation. Apart from that, like in Suikoden 2, there's one character where they change the name. The character's name is Karakuri Maru. And so Karakuri Maru, for one, it's a bit of a mouthful in English. And they just changed his name to Gadget. Because it gets the gist across of what that means in Japanese. There's a character in Suikoden 3. His name in English is Fubar, Fubar, which stands for something. Yeah. So his Japanese name is Fuva. So the question is, it sure does stand for something. So the question is, so with Japanese, sometimes F's and H's are a bit ambiguous, and V's and B's are a bit ambiguous. So his name may actually have supposed to have been like Hoover, like the vacuum, Hoover. But the localizers went with Fubar, which is actually probably the more entertaining choice. So sometimes they also might make other little changes, like that golem that Luke fought, that Luke summoned that you fight. It's called golem in English. In Japanese, he was called Clay Doll, but literally like Clay Doru. They're just saying Clay Doll, the English words. But maybe they thought that Clay Doll sounded silly. Yeah, it's not that F in Japanese not really as audible. Yes, that's very true, Burns. That the Japanese F is like halfway between an English F and an H sound. And the way that the Japanese syllabary works, because they kind of do everything in like 5 syllables, so it's like you have your 5 vowels, it's a, u, u, e, and then you add in your consonant sounds, and it's like ka, ki, ku, ke, ka, ma, mi, mu, me, ma, like that. But for H, it's ha, hi, fu, he, ha. So the H, instead of saying hu, it's fu. There's like lots of historical linguistic reasons as to like why that happened, but I don't quite understand. So it can cause kind of funny things with like H's and F's and B's and V's. Like Victor, he's Victoru with a B sound, not a V. They could have very well named him Victoru in Japanese, but the V sound is a little difficult for some Japanese speakers. So sometimes they just go with B instead. Like I know, like my name in Japanese, it's David, but so I go by Davido, and that's kind of hard to say. So sometimes Japanese speakers will say a B instead of a V in my name. They'll say like Davido. That's kind of hard to, because it's mostly in loan words. You don't really get B's in Japanese words, but in like borrowed words. So like Victor, Victoru. But for Vincent, then it's Bansan. So they do go with a V there. So it's oftentimes I think it might boil down to what's easier to pronounce. And here's Octo SLS. Yeah, Terebi. Exactly. Yeah, Terebi. Yeah. The wonderful practice of taking English words and chopping them up, and then because they could say like Terebi, but that's hard. That's a little it's a little tricky to say. The V. It doesn't roll off the tongue. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Oh, 無事に戻ってきたか. Ah, you made it back. お帰りなさいませ。ご無事で何よりです。Welcome back. I'm so glad you made it. This guy. And Humphrey probably, there's no reason to talk to Humphrey. Nope. ... Humphrey is probably the easiest character to translate of them all. Tiru, 戻ってきてくれたの?ありがたいわ。これで問題が解決する。Tyr, you're back. Thank God, our problems are solved. No yo. Yeah, he's actually worked up. You're not close enough to Humphrey to get the yo yet. You know that's when your Humphrey's friend is will yo at you. それはどういうこと? What do you mean? Odessa, まさか. Odessa, you're not planning to... そんなまさかよ. Yes, I am. なんだ? どうしたってんだい? What's going on? ヒル、これを見てくれる? Here, take a look at this. 何ですか? 私にも見せてください. What is it? Show it to me. なんでこいつは? What's this? これは火炎草の設計図よ. Plans for a fire spear. And fire spear is not in the dictionary, but I've heard a Japanese streamer call it kaien so I'm going with that, because there's more than one way to read this. Kaien so? Fire spear? そう。私たち解放軍が帝国軍から見れば取るに取れない存在よ。でも今はわずかな力しなくてもいつかは必ず帝国と正面から戦う時が来るわ。Right, the Liberation Army may be tiny now, but someday will be big enough to meet the Imperials head on. そしてこの火炎草はその時必ず役に立つです。When that day arrives, the fire spear will come in handy. そのためにドワーフ鉱山から高い値段で買い取ったんですから。We spent good money for this at the dwarf mines. ティル、これを解放軍の秘密工場は運ばなければいけないの。Here, this blueprint must reach our secret factory. But we can't leave this hideout unattended. しかしこのアジトを空っぽにするわけにはいかない。だからこの仕事をあなたにお願いしたいの。I'd like you to take on this assignment. いい加減にしてください。私たちは帝国軍の一員なんですよ。Enough. Don't you understand that we're members of the Imperial Army? Remio, a little slow on the uptake here. Have you been paying attention, Gremio? そんな帝国に後をなすことできるわけないじゃないですか。行きましょう、坊ちゃん。このところにいる理由はありません。Yeah, he does it from time. Yeah. I mean, he means well. How can you expect us to betray them? Let's go, young master. No need to stay here any longer. He's dragging Tyr away. What the? Wait. And they've got like the conspiring music. Conspiring in their hideout. 帝国が今何をしているのか、人々が何を望んでいるのか、あなたはそれを知らないというの? You have any idea what the Empire is really doing? You know what the people want? We pretend to ignore all that. グレミオさん、あなたも見たでしょ? その目で。あなたも聞いたでしょ? その耳で。Gremio, you saw with your own ears, heard with your own... saw with your own eyes, heard with your own ears. 自分の見たもの、自分の聞いたものに嘘をつくのですか? Are you willing to ignore the truth despite all you see and hear? Tyr, あなたはどう? What about you, Tyr? まだ帝国に戻りたい？いつまでもマクドール家のお坊ちゃんでいたいの？ Do you still want to return to the Empire and continue to be McDowell's little boy? And the word they use for little boy here, it's young master. You know, so they translate Botchan, young master, variously in this game. I think Wendy called Tyr Botchan earlier, and they translated it as something else. It's an honorific term. It's a very polite term. But so I guess the implication here is that you're not going to grow up if you continue to just be the young master or little boy here. But I'm not quite sure why they variously decide to translate Botchan. Maybe in this case it does sound like a little more getting at the point of, okay, you're not going to really come into your own unless you grow beyond being Denmark does seem more persuasive? Possibly, yeah. My sense is like maybe it's a little less polite in the English. 父は父、僕は僕だ。僕は帝国軍一員だから。My father goes his way, I go mine. Or, father is father, I am me. And we'll go with that, since he needs to come into his own. On Tyr's, Oedipal journey. I mean, at least, like, the less gross half of the Oedipal journey. Okay. ちょっと待ってください、坊ちゃん。そんなこと言って、本当に帝国に戻れなくなります。Yeah, wait, that's true. Yeah. Thankfully, his mother is absent in this game, or this might have a different rating. No. Wait just a moment, young master. Talk of that, never join the Imperials. Wow! I think that's probably a hard pass on her end. Since, what did she say? I'm just joining your army to watch you die. And I'll join you, but I hate you. So, that might be a rough one. それでいいんですか？クレオさんも言ってあげてください。Would you care? Come on, Cleo, talk to him. 坊ちゃんが行くというなら、私はそれに従う。I go where young master goes. Probably a bit too much of a riff there. Yeah. That's a bit rough. Sonia Shulin's a pretty cool character. It's a shame you get her so late, though. One thing, there's sometimes there's really innate characters in Suikoden that you just get so late in the game, you don't really get to enjoy them quite as much. And she's really like, the last star. Yeah, she doesn't get much time to shine. Yeah. It's. I mean, one nice thing about the Suikoden games, at least, even if you get somebody late, like levels don't really matter. You can level up quickly as long as you have enough money to do their weapon. You can throw them in, but then you're attached to these other characters already. Yeah. So maybe you'll throw in Sonya at the very end. I've never done it. It's always interesting to see different people play Suikoden and see their party compositions and people using characters that I've never used before. People I never even think to use. 私の仕事は坊ちゃんを守ることだ。それがテオ様の命令でもある。My job is to protect him. Those are the orders I received from Master Teo. Less dots in the English. Yeah, I don't think I used her in battle or like Clive or Pesmerga. Yeah, a lot of people really like Pesmerga. I don't use him too much. Maybe I should. I mean, I think he's like a really strong character. I think he's a bit of a tank. Clive. I think I'm not really into the mechanics of Suikoden very very well, but people who are really into the crunchier parts of the game seem to like Clive and Peshmerga quite a bit. I'm not quite sure why people like Clive's. I don't know, maybe if he has like a high attack or crit stat. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, Clive is also a fan favorite. You don't get to see him too much. He does come up in one of the Suikoden games, so he has a bit of a backstory. But I've only played a little bit of the first Gaiden game, so I don't know too well. じゃあ早速説明をするわね。Here, let me explain. ここにある火炎層の設計図。これを海軍軍の秘密工場に届けなければいけないの。This is a blueprint for a fire spear. It has to be delivered to the Liberation Army's secret factory. このレマカンの北西川を渡ったところにコロサンという山があります。Northwest of Lemon Camp, across the river lies Mount Tiger Wolf. So here's a bit of a curious thing is for location names, sometimes they will translate the name, like Mount Tiger Wolf here. You know, it's literally it's Tiger Wolf Mountain. Other times they'll just render the name in English, like Mount Seifu. They just called it Mount Seifu. So here, like, why don't they just call like Mount Koro? Mount Koro? They could just transliterate instead of translate. But they went with say Mount Tiger Wolf. I mean, it's more memorable when you do it like that. Like, it's easier to remember Mount Tiger Wolf than, you know, some word like Mount, you know, Koro. Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. Tiger Wolf does sound cooler. Yeah, okay. The problem is that you lose that meaning, and when you just you know, because they could have kept Mount Seifu and like the Pure Wind, like Mount Pure Wind or Mountain of the Pure. I guess that sounds, maybe it sounds a little lamer than Tiger Wolf. Like, who cares about like Mount Pure Wind? Mount Tiger Wolf though, that sounds cool. Yeah, maybe a bit. Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes there's things that they translate that end up sounding a bit cooler, like the Star Dragon Sword. That's a bit of a mistranslation, but it sounds, because it really should be like the Constellation Sword, or maybe you know, it's like a Star Sword, or because the dragon and Star Dragon Sword, it's the astrological or astronomical dragon. Like there's a constellation dragon like in the sky, so it's that one. So the term actually, if you break the kanji apart, it's star and dragon, but together it means more like constellation. So that might have been an accident, but if so, it was a happy accident because Star Dragon Sword sounds so much cooler. その山を越えたところにサラディという村があります。そこで秘密工場からの使いが待っているはずです。Over the mountain is a village called Saradi. Someone from this factory will meet you there. しかしな、オデッサ、どうしてその奴に断るんだ？そいつらは帝国のスパイかもしれない。Odessa, I just don't get it. Why do you insist on this guy? He may be an imperial spy. And of course, now you realize the great irony of this scene is, you know, you're looking in the wrong direction, Flick. Yeah, it's like, why are you fixated on this guy? Kodawaru, it's like to be fixated on something. Yeah. Yeah. For as distrusting as Flick is, all his distrust is misplaced. It's the guy who's been trying to like get you drunk all the time. Because this is why, because Sanchez is like, oh, you want some wine? I can't remember. I think they may have changed that to T in the English. But like I think he's trying to get like Flick drunk all the time. And I don't think it's because Flick is a pretty boy. I think he's trying to pump him for information. Yeah, to Flick's credit, he instantly wants to kill him when he... Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Flick does, yeah, does want to, take him out. Yeah, he does try to... Yeah, he makes his little joke, like, when you go to switch party members, that he... I can't remember if they keep it as alcohol in English, because we've already seen twice where they censor alcohol. Then they change it to tea. But then, like, there's also other places where it actually is tea, like we'll see later with Ludun and Robber's tea. That's actually tea. なのに、海保軍の命運を握る火炎層の設計図を渡してしまっていいのか? Yet you want to give the blueprint for something that could change the destiny of the Liberation Army. Yeah, it's like, it holds the fate of the Liberation Army. 海保軍の命運を握る。それは心配ないわ。私も一緒に行くつもりよ。Don't worry, I'm going to. なんだって？君が行くならこの俺も。What? If you're going, I'm going to. ブリック。あなたまで来たら誰がここを守るの? Like, if you come along, who's going to protect this place? そろそろあなたにもリーダーとしての資格を持ってほしいわね。What time you begin acting as a leader? It's like she wants him to realize himself as a leader. ブレイク、心配すんなって。オデッサは俺が守るよ。その代わり、あんたはここを守るんだ。Don't worry, Flick. I'll protect Odessa if you promise to protect this hideout. 話は決まったわね。早速、コロ山を目指すわね。Settled to Mount Tiger Wolf then. Yeah. Flick. Odessaに何があったら、ただじゃ済まないからな。If any harm comes to Odessa, you'll be sorry. Yep. And let's just save before we go. At the Kayaki Inn. Kayaki is a type of tree. Okay, good night, Matt. Let me give you a proper good night. Talk to you tomorrow. I know it's a minor thing, but I really wish my times matched. Okay. Mount Tiger Wolf. Gambling. It was gambling. Because I had to reset for the gambling, so it got off a little bit because of that. I also have 40,000 more gold on the Japanese side because I was better at gambling. Or, you know, the cup game. Yeah, well, the gambling is... I should have brought some antidotes. Gambling is great in Suikoden 1. Like, once you get you can play Chinchiririn, you know, the dice game. I didn't get any antidotes. Then it's broken. You have all the money you could possibly want. But at least early on, it's good to get some, you know, with the cup game. You can, I'll wait for the other party to get there. You can get like enough money to last you for a while. Or you lose all your money, which happened to me 4 or 5 times. Yeah, so yeah, the trick with the dice game is since you can bet your winnings, it's very easy to get max gold. Yeah, Gaspar. Yeah. With Gaspar, yeah, the trick he can wipe you out, and you have to think this was somewhat intentional. Is that the inn is right there? You can save right there. Walk over to Gaspar and gamble. So if you lose all your money, you just reset. So it's kind of nice in Suikoden 1 you can do that, and because money can be an issue insofar as upgrading weapons. And I think that's it takes, I think in all the Suikoden games, it's a pretty penny to upgrade weapons. And so that's kind of your biggest drawback with switching characters out. Yeah, it is, because I think level 16 is like 70,000 or so. And you have all these playable characters, and like, oh, yeah, I'll just throw Sonya in my party at the very end. And if her, weapon level is like, I don't know, 13 or something. I don't know what it starts at. It's a disincentive. But if you can gamble it up, then it's no big deal. Yeah, sharpen. Yeah, ding ding ding. Whatever that sound is. 随分と日が傾いてきたな。今日中に山を越えられるかな。The sun's beginning to set. Do you think we can cross the mountain before dark? 私は野宿はごめんだよ。I don't want to spend the night out in the open. Yeah, sleeping outside? No thanks. とにかく登らないことには始まらないわ。さあ行きましょう。In any case, we'll have to go up. Let's go. Alright, Mount Tiger Wolf. Nope, went too far. Got a circlet. Alright, I think that is a female only equip. Who's got? Guess we'll give it to Odessa. Oh, but you can, what does Cleo have on? It's not as good as a... I guess it's only +3. But I guess Cleo already has something better. Yeah. Cleo can't equip it. Oh. Okay. I guess only some women can equip it. Or is it? Oh. Yeah. Oh, she... Well, I can't do anything with it since it does it. Let's see. Can she equip it on the... I'm just curious, like, can she equip it on English? No. Let's look at Odessa's stats, too. Because Victor's stats were different when we got him. So Odessa, right? Yeah, her stats are different, too. Yeah. Yeah, were you here last time when we were looking at Victor's stats? And Victor's starting stats were different? Maybe you weren't here. Okay, yeah. So this is a bit surprising. When Victor was added to the party, I just decided to have a look at his stats on both, and his stats were different. So, like, I knew that when you level up in Suikoden, there's a little bit of randomness. So, if you have 2 different games where someone is level 50, their stats won't match. I mean, they'll be, I think, rather comparable. But there's a little bit of randomness in the stat game. So the question is, like, Odessa's stats are different. She's level 6, she hasn't leveled. Is this because of a localization difference? Or is it because there's something in the mechanics that causes it to be different? And my guess is that it's something in the mechanics itself. So my guess is that they start all the characters off at level 1, and then they're leveled up to whatever level they're supposed to be. So every time you start a new game, like Odessa, they'll kind of re-roll her up to level 6, instead of her starting at a certain, at certain set stats. So I think probably all the characters start at level 1. They have their individual stat growth curves for each parameter, and then that gets applied. In this case, 5 times, and that's why it's a little different each time. That's my guess. So sometimes in the reroll they get a little bit better in some spots and worse in others. I think so. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. And so, I would bet dollars to donuts if we reset that if we started like new games and got Odessa again, it would vary. I wonder if it's kind of like if the game has a seed. So like if you start off a game and you get Odessa, and then you reset, then you get Odessa, and you get Odessa, will that always be the same for that particular playthrough, or will it differ? Like, is it rolled when you get her? I wonder that. But I was surprised when I saw this with Victor, last week. But yeah. Last time I played, I did a lot of grinding here to get water rune pieces. It'll be interesting to see if speedrunners figure out how that's calculated and manipulate that at all. Yeah, speedrunners do all sorts of like weird stuff. I don't understand this myself, but apparently there's a way in Suikoden to mess with like the random encounter mechanics that you don't get random encounters. I don't know how it works, but there's some way that you can like tinker with it that you can basically avoid getting random encounters. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know if it's like somehow resetting the step count. Flasher Rabbit. Speedrunning is like mind-boggling to me. I don't see how it's fun. Like I guess if you really love a game and there's like nothing left to do, you start speedrunning it. It's neat that it's like doing it. Like I don't think I could do it myself though. Because like RPGs, they're like a chill, relaxing thing. Yeah, because RPGs, it's like they're about the stories and the characters and the dialogue and, like watching speedruns and people just blow past, like amazing dialogue. I'm like, wait, he said something really important there. Go back, that was a good line. But no, I mean, it's not important at any point. And then, you'll see them like, call it like, oh, that's the last dialogue line, stop the time. Like, yeah, but there's water in peace. I did get into watching FF1 speedruns for a while, and that was interesting to see how they figured out new manipulations. Lots of trial. Yeah, I bet there is. Yeah, because you see some speedrunners, and it's like they have guides with them, I guess, because there's this whole community of people figuring out how all the speedruns work. Like how you can shave time, how you can, exploit different, glitches. Weird thing. I think speedrunning is more interesting, for games that are not RPGs. Like speedrunning Mario makes a lot more sense to me than speedrunning like Final Fantasy X. It's also like a game you can speedrun in half an hour. Like, there's probably a lot, like, more refinements but, like, speed running an RPG, which has so much randomness in it already, like, Mario, you know what you're gonna get. It's, you know, the Goomba's gonna be where the Goomba's gonna be. Yeah, speedrun 8 to 10 hours. It's, like, you see some of these speedruns, like... I mean... I hope I'm not mixing it up, but I think Suikoden... Was it like 5 or 6 hours to get through everything? I might be wrong. Maybe it's less. But see, like Chrono Trigger, like doing it in like a couple hours or something. It's wild. If I were doing this like as a solo game and not streaming it, I would grind here and get a bunch of water rune pieces, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't really need them. I mean, Suikoden isn't really a hard game, but it was nice getting like my last playthrough, getting 9 water rune pieces and giving them all to Tyr so he would heal. Any percent, or any percent is 2 hours. Okay, I was way off. 2 hours. See, that's just bonkers to me. I'm already like at 7 hours or something. Of course, like playing 2 games at once, this is like an anti-speed run. Oh, I was way off. Well, maybe it was Suikoden 2. That was like 6 hours or something. Yeah, I mean, it's like they know exactly what to do. I mean, I've watched a little speedrun. For a lot of it, is like one thing that helps a lot is in Suikoden is, you know, let go. You can let the enemies go. So a lot of that, you know, as long as you get to a certain level, you don't really have to fight. You just let all the enemies go. So if you're just minimally strong enough to take the boss out, and they know, oh, okay, if I have this rune, I can take the boss out, you know, with this party composition, then they can figure it out. I guess with Suikoden, it's kind of interesting, because later in the game, there's so many different characters and different runes you could have, that there's an optimal, like, what's the optimal way to take out the Golden Hydra in as few turns as possible? Yeah, I don't know. And so it's fascinating, but it does not look fun in the least. Like it's neat that people are doing these sorts of investigations, but I would never want to speedrun anything. I wouldn't want to speedrun anything. I'm doing my anti-speedrun where I do 2 games at once. It's gonna take longer than it should. いや、お客さん、こんな時間に下から登ってきたんですか？大して度胸だね。Welcome, travelers. Coming up at such a late hour, you've really got guts. 確かに先に行くのは明日にした方がいいですよ。この辺りは盗賊も移ろいで物騒ですから。But you'd better stop here and continue tomorrow. It's dangerous around here, but with all the bandits and all. Yeah, with all the bandits and all. どうです？うちの宿で一泊していくってのは？ Why don't you spend the night here? Or how about it? Why don't you spend one night at my place? ごめんなさい。先を急いでるから。Sorry, I want to hurry. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, this guy. いいね、いいね。もう足がクトクトだぜ。Great idea. My feet are killing me. And, they've got one of these onomatopoeia words here for like when your feet are hurting. It's a kuta kuta. Your feet are going kuta kuta. It's like the onomatopoeia of your feet hurting. Oh yeah, 珍しく意見が合いましたね。私もこれ以上はちょっと。For once, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not sure I can go on. 僕も賛成だな。Yeah, I agree, even though I know what's going to happen. よし、決まりだ。おい、親父。 sake wa aru daro na. Gatsutensui, old man. Do you have any tea? Do you think Victor is asking about tea? Do we really think Victor is asking about, some Earl Grey after a long day of walking? No. Victor's asking for alcohol. He's gonna get tea, but he's asking for alcohol. So this is alcohol censorship number 3 that we've seen so far. Mochiron desu tomo, dozo kochira e. Of course, sir. Come this way. nice soothing Earl Grey. Yeah, a smooth, 30-year-old Earl Grey. Yeah. Mataku shogunai ne. Odessa, kore wa tamaru shika nasasou ya. Well, Odessa, I guess we have no choice but to spend the night here. Hontou言うと、私ももう足が動かないの. Tell you the truth, my feet are killing me too. Or like my feet won't move anymore. Minasan, sokuji no mae ni kore o douzo. Kono gorozan no tokusei no ocha desu. Excuse me. Why don't you have some of this before supper? It's a special tea from Mount Tiger Wolf. So this tea is actually tea in both the Japanese and English. This is not censorship. This is actually tea. Of course, it's tea because they're giving it to Tyr also, and Tyr is too young to drink. So this one has to be tea. Gremio wouldn't stand for Tyr having anything stronger than tea. Dore. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, kekko nigai desu yo. No, it's pretty better. So ne, zuibun to nigai wa ne. Very better. Sa, anata mo douzo. Here's some for you too. Nigai no wa iya desu. Or chotto aji yo suru ka. Just a taste. Why not? Sa, douzo atsui desu kara ki o tsukute kudasai ne. Here we go, but be careful, it's very hot. Hen ne, yona niyoi ga shinai? Smells kind of funny, doesn't it? Oi, kono cha wa nante name da? So man, what's this tea called? Kono ocha wa Koro-san no meibutsu nusutto-cha desu. It's a special Mount Tiger Wolf brew called Robber's Tea. Zuibun to kawatta name nan furu ne. Yeah, that's the word nan furu. Yeah, they start slurring. They're slurring both too. Yeah. Kore wa, my god, this is... Oh my, nani mahaya what have you girl? This makes me laugh every time. I don't know why it's so funny. Fukaku konate ni ifarafe. I'm such an old troll. Both of you. I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard every time. And I love Victor's passed out sprite. Now, an interesting thing about this scene is that in the Saturn version of Suikoden, they made some differences. And one difference was this scene. They actually changed their skin to blue in the Saturn version, to really drive home that they've been poisoned. But they didn't have that in the PlayStation version of either the Japanese or English. Uhi. Koro-san no meibutsu doku iri cha o nonde minna onen ne. Everyone's asleep thanks to the drug tea of Mount Tiger Wolf. Okay, there was a little thing they left out. Yeah, he's telling people to sleep. And the word he's using for sleep is like a childish sleep. Like something you would say to a child. Like Betty Bye, maybe. Onenne. おう。こりゃ、旅の一行にしちゃ、手間込んでやがったな。しばらく遊んで暮らす。そうだな。Wow. For a bunch of stragglers, these guys are loaded. Looks like we'll be living the good life for a while. おい、ルドン。元気にしてるか？お、今日も商売繁盛ってわけか？ Hey, Ludden. How have you been? Doing well for yourself, I see. Or, today, business is good today. Okay. これはケスラの親分。いつもお世話になっています。今も一仕事終えたところでして。Why, Boss Kessler, welcome, welcome. As you see, I just pulled a job. お、いい女もいるじゃねえか。待てよ。確かこいつは。And a fine looking woman in the bunch, too. Wait a minute. This here is. おい、ルドン。てめえなんてことをしやがったんだ。Then what have you done, you fool? 何ですかいきな何ですかいきなり。What do you mean? こいつ、いや、この方が誰か知ってるのか？ You know who this is? And one little thing that doesn't translate is that he at first refers to Odessa as, Koitsu, which is kind of rude. To a way to refer, it's like this one right here. But then he corrects himself. He says, "Koitsu, yeah, kono kata," and kono kata is honorific. So he's maybe it would be like, this one over here. No, I mean, this lady, you know. But you can't really. It's kind of tricky to translate. So he's showing his respect for Odessa. 誰ってマヌクな旅人 Just some stupid traveler, I should think. バカ野郎お前だって海保軍の率いているオデッサ様ぐらい知っているだろう Idiot. Even an ignoramus like you must have heard of Lady Odessa of the Liberation Army. 嫌だな、余分。オデッサ様のことならこの辺のガキでも名前くらい。Why, of course, boss. Even kids know who Lady Odessa is. もしかしてこの方が You don't mean that this here is and Ludon switches too. He starts referring to Odessa honorifically when he wasn't before. その通りよ。ほら、早いところ解毒草を用意しな。Yes, I do. Hurry up and prepare the antidote. うさぎの尻尾とバラの葉と砂糖を一つかみ。Let me see. A rabbit's tail, rose leaves, a handful of sugar. おい、ルドン。オデッサ様にもし物事があったらお前の首と体がおさらばしちまうぞ。But if anything happens to you, you can say goodbye to your head. He's saying you can kiss your neck and your body goodbye. バラの尻尾と砂糖の葉とウサギを一つかみ。Takes rose tail, sugar leaf, handful of rabbits. The rabbits, the real victim in the scene, are the rabbits who used to make the antidote. 申し訳ありません、オデッサ様。知らぬこととはいえ、このケスラの一生の不覚となるところでして。He's being very polite here. Forgive me, Lady Odessa. Without knowing it, I nearly committed my life's gravest error. なんでしたこのルドの野郎を If you'd like, I'll make Ledan here pay with his 首と体がおさらばだけは勘弁の Please, sir, spare my head. And he's talking to Odessa here. So maybe that should have been ma'am. I mean, it's a little ambiguous who he's talking to in the Japanese, but バカなこと言わないで。それにしても、これからは用心しないとね。Don't be ridiculous. I'll have to be more careful from now on. フレックの言う通り、わしは人を信じすぎるのかしら。Maybe I do trust people too much, like Flick says. お詫びと言ってはなんですが、この宿にお泊まりください。できる限りのもてなしをしますので。I have no way of apologizing, but please stay here for the night. I'll do what I can by way of hospitality. 毒入りはもうごめんだぜ。But no more poisoning here. Poison? No thanks. And I think, yeah, you can see all the different sleeping sounds they make. Su su, foo foo, chatter chatter, foo foo. So she goes giddy 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 giddy, and I think that's teeth. She's grinding her teeth. I think that's a chatter chatter. Yeah, because onomatopoeia for the sleeping is like su su, which is kind of like a soft sleeping sound. Then she goes giddy giddy giddy. I don't know what the sound is for grinding your teeth is. Like, what's the onomatopoeia for that in English when you grind your teeth? I don't know, but that's what she seems to be doing. And Cleo with the Z's again. Crunch? Yeah, maybe crunch. Maybe crunch. Crunch. Oh, that sound. And Gremio sleeping not quite as softly as Odessa, but still kind of softly. And then we have wow, wow. Yeah, grrz. It's funnier in Japanese. I think Japanese has like probably funnier onomatopoeia than English. And oftentimes, but yeah, he sounds like a bear. Growl, sleeping like a bear. いや、もう毒入り茶はやめることにしましたよ。今回、ゴリゴリでさ。I'm going to give up serving poison tea. I've learned my lesson. Can I not talk to Kessler? Oh. I can't talk to him from the top. That's kind of funny. I wonder why. あんたも回復の一員かい？そうか、違うのか。Are you a member of the Liberation Army? Too? I see, so you're not. オデッサさんはすごい人だ。あの帝国を本気でひっくり返す気だ。帝国に不満の持つ者は多いが、そこまで考える奴はいない。Lady Odessa is a true heroine. She's serious about overthrowing the empire. There are many who express discontent, but only she means to do something about it. この俺だって帝国に組んでいても、やっていることはただの盗賊さ。だからオデッサ様は俺たちの希望なんだ。I hate the empire too, but I'm just a bandit. Lady Odessa is our hope for freedom. おはようございます、but John. Good morning, young master. Oh, 早いな、ティル。You're up early, Tyr. おい、グレミオ。なんだってクレオはあんなに機嫌が悪そうなんだ。Hey, Gremio. Why is Cleo in such a bad mood? ダメですよ、ビクトリさん。クレオさんは寝起きが悪いんですよ。Don't bother her, Victor. Cleo is always in a bad mood when she wakes up. Bad at waking up. みんな揃ってるわね。さあ、今日中にサラディまで行くわよ。I see everyone's here. Today we reach Saturday. もう出発ですか？じゃあ、今すぐドアの鍵を開けますよ。Leaving already? I'll unlock the door. I guess it's locked just to keep the main character in before everybody wakes up. Alright. And... yep, all healed up. Yeah, so the I think they're called slasher bunnies in English. They're just cut bunnies. Cutto bunny. And the snails are called giant snails in English, and the Japanese are just called snail. My, just snail. And I guess the implication is that they are not small. Got the clone crystal. Probably drop that on Victor. Antique. Medicine on the Japanese side. Got cut bunnies. Yeah, I had a clone run Victor to the end. Yeah, I think it's pretty common to drop that on Victor. I mean, he's in your party so much. Then if you have like some medicine on him, or the you know, or the clone rune, or the dragon incense. Did you get the dragon incense when you played last time, Burns? It's a really handy item. Okay, yeah, the dragon incense. I think in Suikoden 1 it's called the dragon seal incense. Is oh, I got a karate gi. So it's an item that heals 50 HP for all party members and has infinite use. So it's really handy to give, say, you know, to somebody who, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, you can get it in LaPonte's mansion. Do you remember the roulette wheel you stand on, and it spins around, and you have to get, you know, 180 degrees to keep going? Yeah, that. So, do you recall that there was one of those that had a question mark? If you land on that question mark, you get the Dragon Seal Incense. You can only get that once, but if you keep, if you keep landing on the question mark, you get, I think, luck rune pieces, so you can increase the character's luck, you know, infinitely. By that. Tier. You. Give you the Kempogi. I think they call it the Kempogi Karate Gi in English, but it's actually Kempo Gi. Kempo's like an unarmed martial art. Suikoden. Your inventory management. Give Victor the brass armor. They translated it as brass armor. How do speedrunners deal with Suikoden inventory management? Because they just not bother equipping. And they probably know exactly what to equip at what time. One thing that's maddening is to watch speedrunners walk by a treasure chest and not open them. I mean, I have decades of it being drilled into me that you open your treasure chests. There's a treasure chest, you open the chest. You can't walk by a treasure chest. Unless you know it's a mimic or something. You open the treasure chest and they'll just like walk right on by because, oh, they don't need that one. Oh, that one's just a meta. They know what it is, so they don't need it. And it's I'm tearing my hair out watching speedrunners walk by treasure chests. And even though if I know they don't really need it, it's the principle of it. You open the chest. I mean, I used to open them if even if I'm doing their mimic. Yeah, you still do it. Yeah, you still, because otherwise the chest will be open for the rest of the game. Himitsu Kojo kara no shito wa konomashi no yado de ochi ao te hazu ni natte iru kedo. Supposed to meet a messenger from the secret factory at an inn in this town. Yado wa doko kashira ne? Where could it be? Chisana mura desu kara sagaseba sugu desu yo. It's a small town. We'll find it soon. This is one of the smallest RPG towns I've ever seen. This might be the smallest RPG town I've ever seen. I don't think they'll have trouble finding it. I'm having trouble thinking of a smaller town in a game. Yeah, it's compact, yeah. Oh yeah, あんたみたい顔だね。最近は下はどうなってる？このところに住んでると、別にじゃなくていけないね。I've never seen you around here. How are things down below? Living in a place like this, you lose track of what's going on in the world. Can't wait to grow up so I can help my father. What a good lad. I think I can unload a couple things here. No. Wait, what can you buy? Oh, that's right, you can buy a water crystal here. I forgot about that. Maybe I should buy a water crystal. I don't need tunic. I don't need leather outfit. Nobody can equip the circlet. Pa-san wa sukkari bokechimatte. Ichinichi juu koutei no hanashi bakkari shite yagaru. Grandma's senile. Talks about the emperor all day. That's not nice. Watashi wa ne, ichido dake teikoku heika no sugato o mita koto ga aru nda yo. Heika wa ne, watashi no youna mono ni mo yasashiku koe o kakete kureta nda yo. I once met the emperor. He's a wonderful man. He even had kind words for a lowly old woman like me. Okay, so her politics are different. He was probably alive when the empire was flourishing and not rotten to the core. So this guy, so there's a little trick in this game. If you come to this house early on in the game with either Tyr by himself or with just Tyr and Ted, which means you meet Ted and you immediately leave Gregmister, or before you meet Ted, you immediately leave Gregmister, you can get a special item from him. If you... I think if you come with Ted, you get a prosperity crystal, and if you come alone, you get a fortune crystal. A prosperity crystal increases your money that you get from combat, and your fortune crystal increases your experience. So, money is not so important once you get gas bar and money is broken, but you know, it can't. You know, if you feel like it, you can always make that trip. It's a little hard though to come with just Tyr or just Tyr and Ted. You have to do some grinding. I think to like level 10 or so, and then you can let the... Yeah, it's interesting that it kind of threw this little secret. And it's one of the things that you'd be hard-pressed to find yourself. You'd probably be hard to survive some of his enemies. Yeah, so I think what people did... I did this in my last playthrough. And if you grind up to like level 10 or something outside Gregminster, then you don't have to fight the enemies, you can just let them go. Because the slasher... bunnies, or the cut bunnies, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, there's 6 of them. They'll make quick work of Tyr and Ted. So it can be a little tricky leveling up with just Tyr and Ted because they're level 1 and they'll die. They'll die a lot. But if you want to, you know, schlep your party to Sarity early on, you can get a special crystal. Oi, 知ってるかよ。海保軍の引き入るを出したのは、身の丈3メートルの大女だって噂だよ。Hey, heard the latest? They say that Odessa, leader of the Liberation Army, is a 9-foot giant. Yes. They changed it to Imperial for us. She is a 3-meter. She's a 3-meter big woman. But they changed it to Imperial. I don't think that's true. She's normal height. Ronnie Bell, though. How tall is Ronnie Bell? Maybe she's 9 feet tall, I don't know. Just don't call her a giant woman. どうやらこの宿がそうみたいね。部屋を取って師匠を待つことにしましょう。This would be the inn. Let's rent some rooms and wait for the messenger. She is a giant woman, though. Yeah. That's because Ronnie Bell, she's really strong, she is giant, but it's like she just wants to, you know, be a homemaker. Like, she wants to learn how to, I think the thing after Suikoden 1, she, like, learns how to cook and marries Mose. Then there's a scene where they're loading up the fire spears and Ronnie Bell is doing all the work. Yeah, so she has you know her happily ever after. But yeah, loading up the fire spears and like everyone's just watching Ronnie Bell load up all the spears, and it's like, could anybody else help? But no, just let's make the giant woman do it. Yeah, the original Brienne of Tarth. Ronnie Bell. Oh yeah, あんたたち客かい？何年ぶりだろうね。I don't know why I'm reading this. It's just the end guy. Let's stay. And then we can read their sleeping sounds again. Wow. Growl. Yeah, it's the same. Now Gremio looks... I guess it didn't actually change the sprites to give them, close their eyes. Goo goo. Yeah. Dear, あなたも眠れないの? Dear, you can't sleep. 私もね、眠れない夜が時々あるの. Me neither. She says, you know, sometimes I have nights that I can't sleep also. They take that line out? Yeah, so they shortened this a bit. She says, you know, Sometimes I have nights that I can't sleep, but she just says me neither in English. でも、こうして夜の数に当たっていると少しだけ心が癒される。But the night breeze makes me feel better. Yeah, night breeze is like this, and just a bit, you know, restores my soul. そんな気がしてくるの。Can I tell you something? I took that out too. ねえ、ティル、私の話を聞いてくれる？ Can I tell you something? 何ですか？ What is it? 転んであってケスラ、それにフレク、ハンプリー、サンチェス、みんなが私に期待を寄せてくれるわ。Kessler of Mount Tigerwolf, Flick, Humphrey, Sanchez, they all expect so much of me. でもね、私は時々そこから逃げ出してしまいたくなるの。彼らの大きな期待に私は応えられるのかと考えるとね。But sometimes I feel like running away. I'm not sure I'm worthy of their hopes. Like I'm able to answer, the great wishes, their expectations. あなたはこれからどうするの？本当は帝国に戻りたいんでしょ？ What do you plan to do? Will you return to the Empire? And so what I don't understand is not. He says wakaranai, which I mean it's more like I don't know in this case. It's like I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't understand is. It makes it sound like he doesn't understand what Odessa is saying. He knows what she's saying, and the answer is like I don't know what I'm going to do. That's what I don't know. I don't understand what my actions will be. So a little awkward of a translation. Yeah, Odessa speak more slowly. Yeah. One more time, Odessa. Yeah. 考えなさい。あなたなら正しいものを選び取ることができるはずよ。Use your head. You have the ability to judge right from wrong. あの父は帝国の大将軍。もしかしたら平穏無事な暮らしに戻れるかもしれないわね。Your father is a great general of the empire. Perhaps you'll be able to return to a peaceful life. でもね、覚えておいて。あなたはあなたの見たものから、あなたの感じたものから目を背けることはできないのよ。But remember that you can't turn away from what you see and what you feel. Yeah, remember well that you can't. Yeah, you can't turn your eyes away from the things that you've seen and the things that you felt. それをするのはあまりにも罪深いことだから。Because you do that is a sin. It's a grave sin. あなたは不思議な人ね。You're strange. Maybe mysterious is a little 不思議 but maybe strange is okay. Strange makes it sound like a little. Because strange can have a negative connotation, but I don't think they meant to have a negative connotation here. あなたといると優しい気持ちになれる. I feel compassion when I'm with you. ビクトールもそんなところを見抜いたからあなたを連れてきたんでしょうね. I suppose Victor brought you to us because he felt that special quality in you. 解放軍にも多くの人がいるわ。ハンプリー、サンチェス、モーズ、そしてフルク。There are many in the Liberation Army. Humphrey, Sanchez, Mose, and Flick. And I believe this is the first time Mose is mentioned. He saves Flick for last. でもあなたのような人を引きつける目をした人はいない。多くの人々を引きつける。But nobody has eyes like yours. Eyes that draw people to you. Yes, and here's the stroking the ego of the player, right? Because the player inserts himself into the protagonist, and then you feel like you're talking to the player. This stuff always makes you feel uncomfortable in RPGs because I get what they're doing, and it always seems a little awkward, you know. Yeah, you think it's a bit weird too because it's like I know what they're doing, and I get it, like, you know. Like if you're a kid playing a game like this and they give you the whole like, oh, you're so great speech, like maybe that's kind of, but maybe that's kind of fun, but it's always, you know, you're so wonderful, a great gameplay. Yes, exactly. That's exactly the thing. Yeah, give me a. Okay, I love Suikoden, if you can't tell, but the whole. Perfect nameless protagonist who has, these perfect eyes that draw people to them, and they have this special quality, like, it's I don't think it's the best way to write a game. And Chrono Trigger, they also have the nameless protagonist in Chrono Trigger also, who, I don't think they do the whole, ego stroking in Chrono Trigger as much so, but they do it in Suikoden a bit. And kind of like, okay, just let me get back to recruiting the actual cool people. Yeah, the Persona games go overboard with it. Oh, do they? Yeah, because you have all your like social links. Is that the term? In there too. Yeah, because then you have all the different people you get close to. Yeah, I only played Persona 3, but I have a vague recollection. Yeah, and also kind of the social links. Because you've got this like some teenage aristocratic hero here who's running around saving the world, and it's like I'm just sitting on my couch. I feel good if I biked for an hour. Okay, that's like my high level of doing something. Okay, everyone is gaga over him, but rarely says anything. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that a lot of people really like the main characters from Suikoden 1. I think he was like they did a poll on like Japanese fans for one of the Konami publications, like who is your most favorite character in the series in Suikoden, and Luke was number 1. Number 2 was Tyr McDowell. And, for kind of like a blank slate, like Everyman, it's interesting that he gets picked. Yeah, some of the monologues for 5 minutes, you choose one dialogue option, you solve their life problems. Luke, yes. Yeah. He was like the number 1 favorite. I don't have it next to me. I have this Japanese book. It's called the Marugoto Genso Suikoden book, and it has all this. It spans Suikoden 1 through 5, and it has all sorts of neat information. Is there more after S1 explains? Yeah, Luke is a recurring character. Yeah. So he does come back. Yeah, this book, and they did. So one of the things they have in this book is they did all these surveys on, like, I wish I had it next to me, but I talked about it a little bit last time. Like, who's your favorite character? Who's your favorite main character? Like, who's your favorite male character? Who's your favorite female character? Which male character would you like for a boyfriend? Which female character would you like for a girlfriend? Which character would you like to have for a brother and sister? So they had all these surveys. But yeah, of course, yeah. But Luke was like number 1, like male character you like, and Tyr McDowell second, if memory serves. Yeah, that's interesting stuff in that book. They've got synopses of all the characters. They have little bios for all the characters from all the games, so all 108 Stars of Destiny and all important characters like Wendy, Barbarossa, etc. Non-star important characters like their age, name, gender, race, like human, kobold, elf, what have you. Their star, the Guardians of Oz village, yeah. I'm not sure if he ranked in like the top. Yeah, Millich is pretty cool, alright. When he's not using poisonous spores on people. It's a cool fan book for the Suikoden series. Unfortunately, they never translated it. It's got maps of the different areas. It's got history, timeline, like the best scenes that they have, the 108 best scenes in the game. They've got explanation for all the mini games. Then they have this weird thing where it's like they put the characters on these graphs, like an XY axis, and like here are the boy characters, and like up is how cool they are, up is how cute they are, down is how stylish they are, and right is how athletic they are, and then left is how cultured they are. And they would plot the characters to see how, like, you know, cute, cool, athletic, cultured, you know. So you could say, oh, okay, so like, you know, Futch is a little more athletic and a little more cute. Then they did that for like the yes, it's very Japanese. Yeah, it's very Japanese. Yeah, it's a little Japanese. They did that for like the boys, for the youth, the young men, for the middle-aged men, and then one for female characters. So that was interesting that they only had one graph for the female characters and they had 3 graphs for the male characters. Because normally, like, the fan service goes the other way, where they focus more on the female characters. But this was the inverse. But yeah, it's a neat book. Yeah. If I had it, I would do a little show and tell, but it's upstairs. But yeah, a bit of a tangent that the main character, that the player. Yeah, great main character, right? Great game player. You're so good at pressing the X button. Yeah. Come on. Many people, if I should ever... Got it! Who is it? Soregashi wa Kaga to mosu mono. Himitsu Koujun no chou. Mosu dono no shisha to shite mairimashita. My name is Kage. I've been sent by Shimo's chief of the secret factory. Kage speaks very formally. You know, he speaks with humble speech. And I've seen many people refer to him as Cage. But it's Kage. Most certainly keeps unusual company. Nicholas Cage. Yeah, maybe that's why. Wait. It's a C, right? Nicholas Cage with a C, I think. And Nicholas Cage. Okay. It's messing with my head a little bit. I couldn't remember. Yeah. Nicholas Cage. Yeah. But then is the thing, like, if you pronounce something differently your whole life, can you change? You know, like if someone grows up and they're calling, you know, Kage Cage, and you do that for 20 years and you find that it's Kage, are you gonna switch? I don't know. It can be tricky. Yeah, it really is though. Yeah. モースは元気かしら。手紙には彼の鳩が病気になったとあったけど、彼が鳩の看病している姿はあんまり考えられないわね。How is he? I received a letter from him mentioning that a pigeon of his was sick. I find it hard to imagine Moe's taking care of a sick pigeon. これはおかしなことをおっしゃる。モース殿は鳩など飼っていませんが。Very strange, lady. Moe does not keep any pigeons. ごめんなさいね。あなたを試したの。I'm sorry, I was just testing you. それがし、契約中は決して裏切りはしませぬ。I never betray a contract. Yeah, in the middle of a contract, I will certainly not betray it. Kaienson no Sekkeizu o Kokuyo. This is the blueprint for the Fire Spear. お願いします。これには海保軍の未来がかかっています。Please deliver this. The future of the liberation movement depends on it. 承知。それではこれにてごめん。Understood. I will go now. 夜も更けてきたわ。もう寝ることにしましょう。Getting late here. Better rest. Alright. But she's not asleep yet. あなたも疲れてるでしょ？早くベッドに戻りなさい。Please be tired too. Go back to your bed. ごめんなさいね。おかしな話に付き合わせちゃって。I'm sorry I kept you up with such strange stories. I think you can actually sleep in either of these beds. Yeah, it doesn't matter which bed you go in. Just one of the empty beds. もう4時は済んだってどういうことだい？ What do you mean our job is done? AK was one of my playthrough that came up. I asked if it made sense for me to say it the way I felt it would be, pronounced Japanese AK, or how it would read to an English speaker, IK. A guy that watched a bunch of my streams said he always read it IK. Yeah, that's one, like, you know, so I think, like, if you've studied German, you know, you might lean towards, like, saying EI as I, you know. Or like in some English words, you know, that have I. You know, so, but, you know, if you study it in Japanese, you know, it's you know, it's AK. But I've seen lots of people say it IK. You know. You know, why it's just why people, because it's EI again. So why people say IK and not IKI? Because people don't. I never heard anyone say IKI. They say IK, or it's like with AU. Then a lot of people were saying IU then instead of AU then. And Murayama released IKEY. Is IKEY? Oh, IKEY. Okay, I misread you. Okay, I'm just so biased to saying AK that. IKEY. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I've heard people say I can't remember. I know the first syllable was wrong. Was I instead of a. But yeah, it's like if you grew up and you were if you've been saying, you know, IKEY since 1995, you know, it's kind of hard to change, right? But I've seen it variously pronounced. I read it as Eke too, because that's how I learned to read in Japanese. Yeah. And but then flipped. Okay. Yeah, because it's kind of like a name like that. It's clearly like it's a Japanese type name. You know, it's you know, it's like one of those. It's one of those Chinese Japanese names, AK. So yeah, but like if you don't know how Japanese vowels work, I mean, you wouldn't say AK. Though I thought for some reason I always pronounced Ayuden as Ayuden. So it wasn't consistent either. Yeah. It's maybe there was a better way to render that vowel. Because we're kind of like in a bit like at the mercy of people who decided how to Romanize Japanese a long time ago. You know, like oh, this is the convention. This is how we're going to Romanize Japanese, Japanese pronunciations, and it's not always intuitive. You know. So yeah, AK. Yes, Ayuden is like it's like a hero story. So AU is a hero, and Den is like a story or a chronicle, and I think they called it like the 100 Heroes Chronicle or Heroes Chronicle. It's the same Den as in Suikoden. You see in words like Densetsu or Dento, like Seiken Densetsu, right? The Secret of Mana games. That Den and Densetsu is the same Den as in AU Den and Suikoden, so it's like a story. Yeah. Yeah, there was like a short video of Murayama where he's yelling like "Hey you Den," with his foam sword, to get the international fans to pronounce it the Japanese way. So, based on the videos that I've seen, there's been limited success to correct the gaijin pronunciation. The IU Den, the AU Den. 昨日の夜にね、Tier. We finished our business last night, didn't we, Tier? Yeah, it's always a tricky thing, but if it's any consolation, it's a two-way street, and there's plenty of pronunciations of English words and Japanese that we will balk at. Probably more so, because much more words get borrowed in the Japanese, and from English, and the pronunciation is creative at times. そういえば夜中に坊ちゃんのベッドがもぬけの殻になったけど Come to think of it, young master's bed was empty in the middle of the night. Yeah, it was like it's an empty shell. 坊ちゃん、何をしてたんですか？まさか私に言えないようなことを。Young master, what were you up to? Something you can't tell me? Oh, Gremio. さあ、行きましょうね、Tiru. Come, let's go into here. Bo-chan, young master. Like, what does he think he was up to? What did he think he was doing at night? Thank you, Gremio. Is one of Gremio's tasks also like to preserve Tyr's chastity or something? He has to make sure. Like he's behaving in the middle of the night. Yeah, I guess that's the implication. It's like, what were you doing at night, not in your bed? Has to keep him. Yeah. Yeah, don't grow up too soon. But Tyr does have to grow up. He has to grow up and grows up beyond needing Gremio to take care of him. So what do you think about Gremio, Burns? Because some people really don't like Gremio, some people love Gremio. All the bunnies on the Japanese side. Yeah, when he starts to change, you start to empathize. Yeah, I mean, because I generally, I find Gremio to be an endearing character. And then when he makes a sacrifice, it's a strong woman. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's like... Because, like, what is Gremio's relationship to Tyr? And it's, like, maybe the closest thing, he's, like, a doting governess. Is maybe the closest thing. But, yeah, it's, I do like Gremio. You know. It's not like his death really comes out of nowhere. Because there's many times in the game earlier where he's, you know, more than willing to lay his life down for Tyr. I mean, there's so many times Gremio offers to lay his life down for Young Master, you could probably make a drinking game out of it and take a shot whenever Gremio offers to die for Young Master. I think some people also don't like Gremio because he's not great mechanically. And he's in your party a lot. I mean, he's, doesn't take much to give him you know, a KO. And I normally don't use him after, you know, after you get him back. But by then, it's like you have so many people, I mean... Did I get something? He died. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Oh, got another. Kempogi, karate gi. No, don't hand it to yourself. Give it to Victor. And they're like, why they decided to call a Kempogi, a karate gi. I guess the idea is that maybe Americans don't know what Kempo is, or it's a little more of a rare term, you know, so they call it a karate gi instead of a Kempogi. Because there are some terms that they change in Suikoden, because I guess they think, oh, Americans won't know what that is, so they Actually, Leia, what do you have? Oh, circlet. Alright, no one can wear that. Wait. Yeah, another item name they changed is in Suikoden 1, you have the Sacrificial Buddha, which revives you to full health upon receiving a KO. In the Japanese... It's Mikawari Jizo, which is, you know, they translate it as Sacrificial Jizo in later games, because they changed Jizo to Buddha because they thought maybe people wouldn't know who Jizo is. Yeah, that makes sense, something that isn't widely known or understood. Yeah, because Kempo, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, Kempo, like, unless maybe you've done some martial arts or you've, you know, played, you know, enough games, then you might not know what, you know, what Kempo is. But yeah, so they changed, you know, Kempo-gi to karate-gi. They changed, you know, the sacrificial Jizo to the sacrificial Buddha in the first game because, you know, most Westerners don't know who Jizo is, and I didn't before I played Suikoden either. You know, obviously that's the name I took for the Suikoden fan. But in later games, they changed it to Sacrificial Jizo. The Suikoden 2 Plus, the same item, they just call it Jizo instead of Buddha. But then Jizo isn't even a Buddha, he's a Bodhisattva. But that probably wouldn't fit. And then the question is, what is a Bodhisattva? Which, so you might be exchanging one obscure term for another. Yeah, but these are all the different questions that translators, localizers have to ask. Yeah, it certainly isn't. I mean, I've only done it like as a hobby to do it well. Yeah, it's easy to do it badly. Yeah, it's easy to translate poorly. Yeah, and you know, you see like in like an RPG specifically, the you know, the gradual improvement, you know, from early on to what we have now. We have entire teams working together to localize games. Because at first they would have like a Japanese person who knew some English would translate, which is not the ideal situation. You want someone who, you know, is native in the language you're translating into, preferably. And so a lot of those translations were not hot. Then you get like, you know, they get like the one gaijin to help translate, you know, like I guess like the Ted Woolsey model. And then gradually they build up departments and they have editors and people cross-checking things. That's kind of fun about these old games. Like I find a lot of the bad translations kind of endearing. Like, it adds a bit of flavor to the games, and maybe it's nostalgia, but I kind of like bad old translations. Like the awkward things that can crop up. I think Breath of Fire is a good example. Like, there's lots of weird, awkward things in the game. A lot of it's just to do with character limits. You know, like, you know, there's awkward things in here. It's just interesting. Like a really polished translation. You want like a good polished translation, but but like if Suikoden's translation were perfect, not that you have a perfect translation, but if it were like, you know, a modern game, I probably wouldn't be doing this. Going through it like this. Like if this were a 2020 RPG coming out that had, you know, a crack team of localizers, there'd be no reason to do something like this. Yeah, I'm looking for the differences and the interesting things and the, you know, the censorship, the things that are mischaracterized. You know, when names are, transition quirks add character to the game. They do. There's something that's kind of lost about having these like really good translations nowadays. I know this is a little of my like old man yells at Cloud, but I don't think they should go back to having like, you know, one guy translating, or, you know, having Japanese native speakers with English as a second language translating. Like, but I don't know. There's something charming about like the old awkward translations, even when they're wrong, even when they tell you to do the wrong thing, even when it confuses the player. Maybe it's because I grew up with it, but maybe I associate it because the great games I played growing up had the quirky translations. So it's not that they're that great, but then I associate them with things that are great. I don't know. どうしたのこれは大丈夫? What happened? Are you alright? 帝国の奴らいきなりやってきてすいません、オデッサ様. The Imperials. Suddenly, I'm sorry, Lady Odessa. こんな My God. おい、Odessa. Hey, Odessa. 追いましょう、坊ちゃん. Let's go after them, young master. Well, this is really probably like after her. There's no direct object here, in the Japanese. But they probably mean go after Lady Odessa. You can actually, こんなことになってお泊まりはちょっと Oh my god, I really can't let you stay. So, it's a little awkward, like, this character is dying. The innkeep is dying. And it's like, yeah, but you can still save my game for me. It's like, this is your last task. Save my game. I feel bad making the yeah. I think it might have been you who pointed out to me that the innkeeper died. Because I never realized it before. I think it was your stream I was watching. Where you realized that, and I had never noticed. Oh yeah, they have a woman afterward. Yeah. It's like, don't be sad. Yeah, I mean, who died? Was it like your husband or your family member? Or maybe she, she's just a temp and she's not that broken up. And I know that I don't have to fight these guys and that, Odessa's in the bottom one. But I just don't feel right about not clearing out the Imperials. And... okay. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Alright, Cleo, do your thing. Also, why I like to get the wing boots for Cleo is so she acts first. Boom. 177 on both, okay. I think it was 177 on both. It happened at the same time. Kill them all, yeah. Filthy Imperials. Yeah. No, they're doing their job. They're on the wrong side of this, but they're doing their job. Imanoa, what was that? Isogimashou, let's hurry. More Imperials. I guess I could have thrown a... I mean... May as well use some of these magics. Yeah, one nice thing about giving Victor a clone rune, also, is that Victor gets countered a lot. That can be a bit frustrating. But if you give him the clone rune, he doesn't get countered all the time. Daijoubu ka, Odessa? Are you alright, Odessa? Sa, mo, daijoubu yo. Dete kinasai. Come, you can come out now. Hayaku. Hayaku niganasai. Quickly, you must run. Okay. Oh, Odessa-san, Chiga. Lady Odessa, you're bleeding. Odessa. Nande konna koto o shita? Omae ga inaku nattara kaihoku wa? Odessa. What have you done? Without you, the Liberation Army... Gomennasai, Victor. So sorry, Victor. Douyaro watashi wa Kaihogun no ida toshite no mibun yori hitori no onna toshite no jibun o erande shimatta youda. It appears I've chosen to be a woman rather than commander of the Liberation Army. And this is the line some people have some trouble with, because it's like, so what the female thing to do is to guard the child with your life, whereas like to be a leader, you let the child die. Is that the implication? That if she were a better leader, she would have let this child die. But since she had this womanish moment of weakness that she saved the child's life. It reads a little awkwardly, I think. Because you think it's just like it's a human thing. Like you want to protect a child's life. That's just that's like a common humanity. But yeah, she had her womanish choice here to save a child's life. Watashi ni wa ano ko o miguroshi suru koto ga dekinakatta. リーダーとしては失格ね。I couldn't let that child die. I'm a failure as a leader. Yeah, nobody in 2020 would have issue with that viewpoint. Yeah, and I get like this is a game from '95, and they didn't run everything in this game through 2020 gender politics, but like even then, it's you know, she failed as a leader because she saved this child's life. It's a bit of a challenging set of lines, so to speak. しゃべるんじゃないよ、ですさ。傷口が開くだろう。Don't talk like this, you'll reopen your wound. いる。こっちに来てくれる？ Here, will you come here? あなたにお願いしたいことが2つあります。I have 2 requests. It's really interesting how much they can truncate. Like, they're saying the same thing. There's so much more in the Japanese, right? 一つは、このイヤリングを聖火の村に住むマッシュという男に渡してほしいの。First, give this earring to a fellow called Matthew in the village of Seika. So people say Saika, maybe? Or people say Seika? I think I normally hear people say Seika. Not sure if I've heard Saika. やめろよ、デザさ。最後の願いなんてバカなことを考えるな。Stop it, Odessa. Don't want to hear any final requests. And it also gets me like that, like the sprite shake, like that the quiver that they give Odessa's sprite. And they do this at some points in the game when you know, characters are, you know, in their last, and you know, it's a little detail, but I find it to be a very powerful, you know, addition to the scene. You know, Victor, ありがとう。でももう無理なことは自分でもわかるの。Victor, thank you, but I know the end is near. 受け取っている。Take it, Tear. Yeah. And then, you know, this is probably one of the first. Here's a very touching scene. Let's add the sound effect, which they do multiple times in this game, and it's a bit arresting. But earring, which is actually earring, earring. もう一つの私の願いは、my other request. 私の体をその水の流れに投げ込んでほしいの。My other request, please throw my body into the stream there. そんな、なぜです。そんなひどいことをどうしてしなきゃいけないんですか？ But why? I can't do such a horrible thing. And, you know, so she's talking to Tyr. And as is typical for Japanese sentences, this subject does not have a this sentence does not have a subject. So translating as like, I can't do such a horrible thing. It's like, well, first, Gromio, Odessa ain't talking to you. You know, of course she is addressing Tyr. But you know, since the sentence doesn't have a subject, it's like, why does such a horrible thing have to be done? Or it's probably better to translate as like, why does Tyr have to do such a horrible thing? You know, Tyr, you know, why does Tyr do this horrible thing? So that's a little, maybe a little translation miss there. It's a perennial problem translating from Japanese. Because, you know, we like to have subjects in our sentences in English. almost always sentences have subjects. But Japanese, like, subject, we all know what the subject is. We don't need to actually say what it is. It's implied. No shortage of headaches for Japanese language learners, the lack of subjects. Onegai yo, dear. Please, dear. そんなことできません. As you wish. わかりました. I understand. ティル、お前、どうしてそのことが言えるんだ? Tear, how can you... Yeah, how can you say that? How are you able to say that? ありがとう、ティル。あなたは分かってくれるね。Thank you, Tear. You understand me, don't you? ビクトール、私が死んだことが分かれば、芽生えたばかりの解放運動は瞬く間に結末してしまう。消滅してしまう。Victor, as the liberation forces find I'm dead, the movement will lose faith and die. And it's a little more poetic in the Japanese. It's like the Nibayata Bakari. It's like the liberation movement, which is newly sprung or has just sprung up, will vanish in a flash. In the blink, like in the blink of an eye, it'll be destroyed. だから私が死んだことは隠さなければいけないの。かすかに生まれた希望を消すわけにはいけない。That is why you must keep my death a secret. Our tiny newborn hope must be kept alive. ね、どこかでフリックに出会ったら伝えてくれる? If you ever see Flick again, あなたの優しさはいつもいつでも私を慰めてくれたと。Tell him that his kindness always saw me through hard times. じゃあそろそろさよならみたい。ディル、私の見ることのできなかった自由な世界を。Well, it appears the end is near. Tear, I hope you were able to see the free world that I was never able to. お別れだ、オデッサ。Goodbye, Odessa. 多分私たちは行かなきゃいけないでしょうね。聖火の村へ。I suppose we should go to Seika. マッシュというとこを探さなきゃな。Yes, and find this fellow Matthew. しかし、聖火の村へ行くには、ワバの城塞を取らなければいけない。But we have to get to Seika. We'll have to go through the fortress of Quaba. Quaba no Josai. 厄介だな。しかしまあ、なんとかなろう。なんとかなるだろう。The fortress of Quaba. That's going to be tough, but we'll give it a try. Okay. So I'm probably going to call it there for tonight. Two reasons. One, playing for 2.5 hours, and also I think off stream I'm going to grind up some water rune pieces so I can put those on my weapons, and that would be a boring thing to watch. And I can't do it after going through the Fortress of Aquaba. The Fortress of Aquaba is when you're locked away from this region until the end of the game, and I want those water rune pieces anyway. And yeah, and there she is. Yeah, come the wipe away your tears. Yeah. Wait, is that what she said? I didn't even read. Three-minute difference. Still. Yeah, what do you say? Yeah, come on. さあ、涙を拭いて頑張らなさいとね。Yeah, yeah, wipe away your tears. 頑張らないとね. Yeah, wipe away your tears. And it's just, like 頑張る, that Japanese word that gets variously translated as to like do your best or to or good luck. Yeah, she says 頑張らないとね. You have to wipe away your tears. You have to 頑張る. You have to do your best or bear up or however you want to render that. Yeah. She just like, yeah, we already. Oh, actually, I can't actually cancel out of here. I have to pick one of these. I guess don't stay is actually cancel. Yeah. No one else is here. But all right, I'm gonna call it there. Thanks for hanging out, Burns. I'll catch you later. I'm looking forward to your Chrono Trigger stream. Do you know what time? Is that in your schedule? When that'll be? Like what time? Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'll keep a lookout. As yeah, Chrono Trigger. You start around 8:30 Central. Okay, okay, 8:30 Central. Um. Okay. Yeah, I guess that'll be like 9:30 my time. All right. Well, you have a good one too, Burns. I'll catch you later. Catch you on your Chrono Trigger stream. Have a good one. 8 and 8:30. Okay. Okay. Yeah.